Thanks, Hilton. Well, David, I go away and two stockbrokers seem to be hitting the wall. TSEC and Cortex. What's going on there?
Cortex, you can ask Jeff about the losses they took in ABSA. So that was.
That's Jeff Gable who's sitting next to you from ABSA.
I'm not going to comment, but
right, well, then he's grimacing, Dave. Well done.
That
well passed. Good
that was
Dealstream
Dealstream version 2, not as bad as Dealstream, but a collapse in. It was last week's story where. ABSA had to take over certain positions.
Right, so Cortex is well known. What about TSEC?
That's a surprise. I didn't realize that.
Right,
look, Alec, conditions are tough. I mean, conditions are really, really hard in the market. And I would say more so on the trading and institutional market. Strangely, the private client business keeps churning along.
Warren Buffett, our gentleman that we're going to see in May, was quite influential in the news today. You do remember a few years ago that he is quite close to Barack Obama, and Barack Obama is now getting onto one of Warren's hobby horses, which is executive pay. Big stories of that in the United States, where they're cutting these companies that have got bailouts down to a maximum of $500,000 a year.
That's 5 million rand, and it's not much in the United States,
where
they've been earning 26 million a year. But when you work for government, what do you expect? I mean, the governments now own or have bailed out these, and of course they can now dictate where the packages are.
It'd be quite interesting to see what Maria Ramos does when she arrives at ABSA. She's got a reputation of being a no-nonsense, cutting out things like expense accounts, country club, golf memberships, etc., etc. Jeff Gable is sitting next to her. Are you worried about travelling in the back of the plane in future, Jeff? Where's our webcam when we need it? I'm sure we'll talk a lot about that in future. But very interesting. She was impressive in Davos, David. And she really did come across very well, and I think the people at ABSA have got a hell of a coup.
They have. Look, she was excellent in government. She's been superb at Transnet. She's a seasoned traveller, well known. She always appears on the list of most prominent businesswomen in the world. I'm talking the global list, so sure. And I think she'll do very, very well there. She's an asset to South Africa, and I just wish we had a lot more of them.
Some of the moves of the stock market today, Northam share price is up 6% again. We've got Glenn Lewis, the chief executive, here in the studio. We'll talk to him about Northam in a moment. Those interim results had some influence.
I think it was more the platinum price which kicked up today. And also, Alec, we've had a better sentiment in the resource market. For some reason, I can't explain it. We had big gains yesterday in Anglos and Billiton, and we're still having quite a bit of buying coming into resources for whatever reason. Whether we believe this is the bottom of the market and things will start pointing up, I can't say. But it's the one area of the market that seems to be reasonably steady.
Generally, the JSE, though, didn't get much of a kick-up by Tito Mbowene's cut in interest rates. In fact, interesting to see, and we're going to talk to Jeff about that as well, that Tito was talking about a 200-point, in other words, 2 percentage point cut that he wanted, but others on the Monetary Policy Committee said bring it down to 1%.
1%. I think it just leaves it open for further cuts down the line. But the market was beginning to price in 1.5%, 1.5 or 2%, and I think a little disappointment that it was only 1%. And I think for that reason we saw retailers come back, and a bit of profit taking in the market. Also in the banks, we saw some of the banks come back. But we had a credible day yesterday, I think ahead of today, hoping that it would be about 1.5%.
Banking shares down 2% overall. Gold miners down 3%, and the industrials down 1%. So another red day.